Welcome back, guys, to the Hitchhikers Guide to the Movies, coming at you via Zoom. Now, we wanted to always kind of venture off into Zoom. We're hoping to have some participants or some guests, but a lot of people are very busy at the moment. So we're going to do this solo
Hey, we
dolo.
hey, we might get some visitors who just pop into the room at some point because
I
you
hope
did
so.
put it in a very open group chat.
I did.
So we may just have some random guests. Who knows?
Yeah, we should text them and tell them, yo, join the Zoom. Guys, we do want to let you know that this episode of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Movies is sponsored by Raise Energy. And at this point, every episode that we do from now on will be sponsored by Raise Energy. So if you guys want to get yourself some energy, it is amazing. We
All
love
right,
it.
my background doesn't want me to show it.
This is an empty can. I have none left because I've drank it all. Luckily, Islam still has some. Um,
Yeah, oh, there it is. There it is. It
there you
worked.
go. Just keep it right in front of your face the entire podcast. Now, guys, this is our official first sponsor. This is their guava mango flavor. Islam has the what flavor is
Uh,
that?
Galaxy Burst.
Galaxy Burst. Okay,
So it's like a Mountain Dew meets Sprite, but healthy.
but
If
healthy.
if that makes any sense.
I recommend trying the guava mango.
Oh, it's
It's
fantastic.
the only flavor that I've had so far, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, I've been just sampling a lot of flavors so far, so I
Yeah.
have a list right now.
Yep.
Guava mango is definitely up there. It was my favorite at the beginning because it was the only one I tried.
Yeah, and
But
this is from the Rep Energy Company, guys. So if you guys want to go grab yourself some energy drinks, they also have some fat burners, pre-workouts, gym stuff, as well as just like if you're on the go. The cool thing about this company though is they have energy release caffeine. So it's awesome for like if you want to take it and then
yeah, it's a delayed release.
the
Yeah.
caffeine will start to kick in later.
Yep.
So like if you're in the morning, you're going to work, you can take it on your commute. By the time that you're at work, you'll be all caffeinated up. And it's zero sugar, so you guys don't have to drink like an energy drink that's going to be unhealthy. No crash. I've tried it myself. I'm actually very sensitive to caffeine and energy drinks, so this one was really a good choice for me. So if you guys want some drinks for 15% off, use code Hitchhikers in the promo code at checkout for your
Yep.
purchase, and you'll get 15% off, and you'll support the podcast. So definitely check them out. Now,
Yeah, as long as we're supported, we can keep growing and keep bringing you guys some new content
mhm,
and start increasing some of our giveaways that we're gonna eventually start doing because we want to give away some stuff. Uh,
yeah,
we can't do that without some money coming in.
and some subscribers. So
Yeah.
guys, hit that subscribe button below. Let us know what you guys think of the podcast. Comment down your names for some free merch, Hitchhikers gear. Islam is rocking our logo, very zoomed in behind him. But if you guys know our channel, you get the point.
But
uh,
honestly, this is actually my favorite part of the logo that's actually showing right now. The galaxies with the movie and the film and the popcorn. Like this is my favorite part of the logo.
I love the logo. I feel like we did so well with it.
Yeah, this was a huge at the beginning we were kind of like looking at different logo ideas and hey, I figured I'd ask a friend and
You phoned a friend.
I phoned a friend and that friend paid off.
Awesome, man. So let's jump into it, guys. We're going to be talking about a few things, but the beauty of us being remote and the beauty of us doing it on Zoom is we want this to kind of just be like a relaxed episode. So we don't have anything
Exactly.
planned, nothing prepared. We're just going to go off the top of our heads, discuss some TV shows, some movies that we're really interested in these days. So,
I mean, to be honest, we did have a plan, but we decided to scrap that plan and talk about some other stuff.
you got to go off the temple sometimes, man. You really do.
We do, and I think
Yeah.
that was definitely the key for this episode. So, first thing I definitely wanted to talk about
Yeah. Throw it at me.
was Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2.
Hmm.
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but what are your thoughts so far on this new Captain America and his sidekick or partner, whatever he wants to call himself, Battlestar? Um, And then some of these, and and just kind of the development of Bucky and Sam as characters.
Well, at first I was like, what? Like as soon as obviously I'm sure as everyone was in what was it, episode one, towards the end. That was like a shock to me.
Yeah.
Um, I will say episode two, I hate him a lot less, right? Because I kind of get a little bit more backstory to him. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's way too cocky. I mean, you want to join Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's not that easy. I feel like everybody who's ever joined into the Avengers or into just the Marvel heroes, they've always had a reason for joining. It was never just like, hey guys, I'm gonna join you guys and replace like one of your best friends. So it was definitely like annoying at first to see him kind of take charge in the show. Um, yeah, I think he's disrespectful to Captain America, man. He just came in there and he was like, "Yo, I'm part of the group now." And clearly, Falcon, the Winter Soldier, they don't like him at all. You know,
No.
they do not like him. They think he's way too cocky. He's way too presumptuous. Um, and I think for the entirety of episode two, he's just been trying to join forces with them. And it's cool the direction the show is going in because it sets up a lot of possible plot twists, a lot of possible places for them to go with it. Like I feel like this is similar to WandaVision in the sense that like we really don't have any idea where the show is going towards.
Yeah.
Um, I like the new villain. He's cool. Nothing crazy. He just seems like he has a super strength. But I'm very
Are you?
confused.
Hold on. Just don't want to interrupt you here, but you're talking about the Flag Smashers, right?
Yeah, the Flag Smashers. It
So that's actually a she. That's something you didn't realize. That girl, that's a girl.
no, no, I'm talking
The
about
redhead.
the not.
She's the head of the Flag Smashers. She's the one who's
She's the
running
head
it.
of the Revolutionaries, but
Of the
that guy in the beginning that we saw who wears the mask.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a. I mean, but that those are two different people. But this is like she's
it's the
basically the
same
head of this.
cause. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it is. But she's the one kind of. She's actually the one in charge, and that because this is something I was kind of reading up about,
Mhm.
and it turns out she's actually the one in charge.
That
And
makes
it's
sense.
because of her father. So it's actually because of her father. Obviously, they rewrote it for in terms of for Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
but the original storyline was from a comic series. For it was actually a Captain America comic series,
Okay.
which featured Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they had what was it? They had the Flag Smashers basically doing the same thing, and her father at the time, and in this version, it was his father, so he had a son, not a daughter.
Not a
Uh,
doubter.
yeah. So the son carried on his father's work and his father's, ambitions because he saw and he took it to an extreme because the father kept trying to do it by using peace. He kept trying to be peaceful about his attempts.
Okay.
And then eventually he went towards the violent side because he saw the peace wasn't getting anywhere. So it kind of developed into that whole,
Well, so the Flag Smashers are this revolutionary group
Mhm.
who appreciated or wanted the time back when half the world was gone. It was a world without borders, as they say. And
Well,
so,
that's what they want. They want a world without borders. So having a world without borders is obviously going to create chaos around the world.
well, yeah,
It's
because it was possible during the time when Thanos snapped everybody away. That's
exactly.
really what it was. It was chaos. They love that. And so now that things are back to normal, it's like they had a taste of what they wanted
Yep.
and it was taken away. And so obviously during this time, there's going to be people who are going to revolt and they're like, no, I want it. And when I thought
Of
about it
course.
the other day, it, it's an interesting thought, to think of what would happen if half of the world's population disappeared. I mean, you'd think that it would be a good change in terms of like more jobs,
Hmm.
but also at the same time, it would be chaos because I mean, who is to say how many people exactly are disappearing? Are the world's brightest minds disappearing? Are essential workers disappearing? I mean, that could in and of itself cause chaos in a society.
I mean, I don't think there's a single way that you can split it up where it's fair. Like you can't be like, oh, we're gonna take 50% of humanity away.
Well,
But
let's say it just happened exactly how Thanos did it. I don't
yeah,
think,
no, I
yeah.
get that. I get that. I'm just saying, like, you can't, like, I don't think there's a way to rationalize it where it actually comes out to be fair in the sense that you're gonna have, you know, a certain percentage of, let's say, we're gonna go up to 50%. Let's say 10% of the world's population are medical professionals. EMTs, doctors, nurses, etc.
Mhm.
10% are the police and army.
Rough estimate.
Rough estimate.
Yeah.
10% of the people are lawyers, 10% engineers, 10% creatives, because you still need entertainment.
Yeah.
you know and you kind of, if you have all that, and it's like, all right, but like these are all still have they all still have normal lives outside of their
See,
careers.
yeah.
So it's 10% in certain careers, but it's also 10% of all people. They still account for, that full 50%. They still count as part of that full 50% of people.
Right.
So I
So
think
it's
I mean, it would definitely be interesting to see kind of how that would be, but I think it would be kind of how we're seeing it from Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
mhm.
We've had, I think this is going to be the second time that we're kind of seeing the after effects, actually the third time that we're seeing the after effects from Endgame. So the first time we saw it was in Spider-Man, when everybody just started reappearing and going back to school.
I think that was the best look of what
That
it was
was
like.
exactly, everybody just
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, hey, we're going back to school. There was the second appearance, which is when we found out, when we saw Monica in WandaVision.
Hmm.
Monica Rambeau in WandaVision. She just appeared in a hospital and there was chaos.
Well, so that
Everybody
would be
was
really
around.
interesting to have a look at exactly what was going. I mean, like Endgame was during that period of time, but the
Yep.
thing is, just like in WandaVision, when we saw everyone returning back into the hospital along
Mm-hmm.
with other places, but we got a look of the hospital. It was
Yeah.
chaos, yes,
Yeah.
and that was during when they came back,
Yeah.
right? So that was already them coming back, but we never truly got a look of what it was truly
Well,
like during when they were gone. Like, what were the people
yeah,
doing?
we didn't
What
see.
were these governments doing? How were they
Well,
handling
we
it?
did have an idea of how it looked, because if you remember at the beginning of Endgame, when they were doing like a pan over in the city, you can
Yep.
see like the city was burned, like basically burned down, run down, buildings were falling, and the city was destroyed. So you kind of have to assume that that was part of the after effects from Infinity War, from the
Hmm.
snap. You kind of have to expect. Obviously, some of that damage was caused by the wars and the people during Infinity War, and all the battles during Infinity War.
Hmm.
Obviously, some of that is going to be damaged,
Yep.
but a lot of it was probably in that 5 year span. And the Avengers are more, they don't care about protecting New York City and protecting all these random places. They just want to get Thanos back so that they can reverse what he did.
Hmm. And it's
So
interesting to also think what would have happened if Captain Marvel was on Earth the entire time during Thanos's raid.
there wouldn't have been an Endgame.
Yeah, I believe it. She was way too overpowered, and if they had her on the front lines in the
I
beginning,
mean, to be honest with you, um, everybody says, what, she's very overpowered in general. Her comic book character, she's very overpowered in general. It's not
yeah.
like, oh, they made her overpowered for the movies. She's overpowered as it is. They actually made some of the characters underpowered, which is something that I recently learned about.
You have
In the
to, yeah.
comics,
I
in the
mean, the
comics
comments go
there's some,
off.
yeah, there are some comics, and from the comics, basically, you see some of the characters are actually super powerful,
Yeah.
but when we saw them in Endgame, Infinity War, or Endgame, we saw they're weak. You're like that's that's all you
Well,
could do.
Well, that's the interesting thing about comics versus the films,
Yeah.
because when you go about it in comic book form, it's very easy to constantly increase the extent of these people's powers,
Hmm.
because comic books, the way the plot happens in a comic book is different than the movie. The
Oh, of
movie has
course.
to explain a lot of what's going on, and comic books don't really. They just kind of like make a small window of what's going on right now. And
Hmm.
especially when you have movies like the Avengers, now you're like, okay, how, like, what extent do all these people's powers actually like affect what's going on in the plot? Like, for instance, Hulk, he's super strong, but at
Yeah.
times they would show him in, I think, which was it? I think it was in Infinity War, where his power was kind of capped because of the internal struggle between Bruce and the Hulk. And so
Hmm.
you'd think like normally the Hulk can do anything.
Yeah.
But since they added this little element, it's like, oh, now the odds are different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. No,
even
definitely.
Thanos was able to beat up the Hulk. And that showed that although the Hulk is powerful, he doesn't have, um, what's the word? Skill. Like he's never really been in a position where he's had to have a lot of skill because of
Yeah.
his immense strength. If, for instance, you took Captain America, whose combat abilities outmatch a lot of people's, and you combine him with the Hulk, I mean, it's endless
Exactly.
the amount of
I
power he
mean,
could have.
well, the character I was talking about primarily, and I'm sure you've seen some of these videos where they actually talk about it, and it's actually Drax from
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. He's apparent like so in the comics. I haven't read these comics personally, but I've read about them, and from the comics, it seems that he is essentially he's Thanos' biggest enemy, biggest
Hmm.
rival, and the closest to him in strength.
Right.
So he should have been able to do more to him when he didn't have the stones.
Okay.
And all he was able to do was all he basically did in the movie in Infinity War was hold him in like a headlock basically.
But
And
like,
that was
see,
very and it was and he kind of like and he only did that for a second until they were able to until Doctor Strange opened that portal and then they threw I forget I think Spider-Man jumped through and hit him. Like it was like
yeah.
it was kind of like a weird scene. Obviously they would have had to explain that. So the only time they would have been able to explain that kind of, his power or his strength
Hmm.
would have been in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
And I don't think they didn't really have an opportunity to do that.
I mean, he's never pegged me as somebody who's super strong. I mean, the he just always pegged me as
Because
somebody who is like humanly strong,
they
but
didn't see
nothing
they didn't
past that.
yeah, they never built him that way though. That's why they never the character development was to make him like that as
Like a
opposed to make it
comedic.
as
He feels like he plays
exactly.
more of a comedic role.
He
Uh,
was the comic relief. Look,
yeah.
he was the comic relief in Guardians of the
And the
Galaxy.
heart and soul of it because of the fact that Thanos killed
Exactly.
his wife and kid. So that was
Exactly.
definitely like heartwarming to see that he was defending the honor of them.
Exactly. And actually apparently he's actually from Earth too.
Huh?
Yeah.
Born and raised?
Apparently he was
Wait, I gotta fact check this, dude.
I
You're
apparently
making some claims.
this is what I saw in a video. I don't know how accurate that is to be honest
Yeah,
with
that
you.
doesn't sound very. I mean, how?
But
I mean, how would that explain it? No, it was clearly born on a different planet.
he may have been born on a different planet or maybe he was raised on Earth or something like that. But apparently he had like some origin on Earth. At
Yeah,
some
Burbank. He was born in on Burbank, and
there was like
okay.
something.
So this says needing a champion to combat Thanos. The being known as Kronos took Arthur's spirit and placed it in a powerful new body, and Drax the Destroyer was born.
Okay.
So it's also interesting to see that Drax's purpose was sort of to
He was the
combat to
that's
to to
that was
combat
literally his
Thanos.
entire that was his whole life, goal. That's all he needed to do in his life.
Wow. And his species. Ah. Wow. Okay. Get this. So it says he's from Burbank.
and you think,
Okay.
oh, what planet is that?
Burbank,
It says
California.
place of origin, Burbank, California, and his species is human mutate. So he's a
He's a
mutated human.
he's a mutate.
He's a
So
mutant.
no, he's a mutate. There's a
What's the
difference.
difference?
We talked about. I don't know if you remember, but we talked about this a couple months ago, where we had a whole argument about the difference between mutants and mutates.
So mutants have the X gene, and
Yep.
mutates get their powers from practically anything else, which explains why.
So
What was it?
there
Kronos
was-
took his spirit and Arthur's spirit and placed it in a powerful new body.
So part of the whole like history of the mutates actually stems back to when the Kree were on Earth with the Skrulls.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember when we talked about this. We talked about this briefly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it may have been in the beginning of WandaVision when we started talking about Skrulls and getting into that whole when we jumped down that rabbit hole.
Right.
But so what happened was during that whole time with the Kree and the Skrulls, there was essentially like the Kree were trying to create their own mutants, their own soldiers and warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought, why are we going to sacrifice our own people when we could use humans?
Okay.
They're going to keep repopulating. So we always have an endless supply of soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to keep taking the soldiers when we need them.
Okay.
So what they did is they basically created these soldiers, and they injected like the first like batch of them with some sort of like gene or DNA alternator or something like that, which basically just alters their DNA. They don't have the X gene. They just have this
Right.
dormant gene which turns them into a mutate.
That's interesting. Yeah.
When they get exposed to to something called Terrigen mist.
What's interesting too is that.
So I do want you to look up a certain hero from Marvel. Her name is Quake.
Right now.
You could look it up now or later, but I just want you to look that up.
Well, let's look it up quick.
Look it up. Daisy Johnson, Quake. So she was actually introduced in a Marvel show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know you didn't really get into that show.
No.
But she was introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Is she a mutate or?
She's a mutate. Her powers come from Terrigen mist.
Species in humans.
Yep.
Okay.
So mutates are in humans.
Mm.
The same thing. So her powers, she was a little different. Her mother was an inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Her father was not. So she got the gene from her mother.
That's interesting. And so these people in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they are not mutates, or are
No.
they? If
No,
they've
they're
been
not.
given, if they've
They're
been
super
given the
soldiers.
super soldier serum.
Well, would that make is Captain America a mutate?
So you said a mutate is someone who gets their powers from something else.
No, it's you have a gene, but your powers come from essentially being exposed to something. You're being exposed to something else, but you already have like a so basically it's like you have a dormant gene.
So
you have
I'll do you one better. Is
Okay.
Hulk a mutate?
No,
But explain this then. They said that.
he was a failed experiment.
Yeah, but they said that much gamma rays should have killed him.
Yeah,
so
but
what kept him alive?
I think it was the amount of gamma radiation ended up, getting into like it didn't stop his heart. It just rewrote his cells because what is radiation doing? It's the same as the radiation that created Photon in WandaVision. Think about it. The radiation rewrote her cells.
Well, so then technically the Scarlet Witch, right? Is she a mutate?
No, she's not a mutate.
Well, didn't we say that she had something inside of her
Yeah.
before her powers were ever
Yeah, but she was I forget the name. I forget the name that they call
Sorcerer?
it. She's a sorcerer. That's one thing. But there's actually a name for her, essentially for her species, which is what which is what everybody was afraid of. It's not about the Scarlet Witch. They're afraid of because every what is it? I think it's called like an apex being. So every universe or every multiverse has one basically like apex being, which is at the top of everything.
So then Drax is pretty like different than a lot of other people
Yeah,
because there's a very
we haven't been we haven't been exposed to many mutates in the MCU from the movie side, the cinematic side.
yeah,
On the TV side, there's been a lot of mutates and mutants, and we've seen
right,
everybody.
right.
Whether you're talking about Luke Cage is considered a mutate.
Luke Cage. Really?
Luke Cage, he's not a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just a normal human. He has, special abilities. There's a lot of them. It's not just one or two. There's a
Yeah.
lot of them. There's the whole Agents of Shield series, which literally shows you all these mutates.
But so okay, so then
So you
in
had,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, for instance,
yeah,
they're super soldiers. They were
yep,
given a serum that
yep.
nothing was significant about them before, given a serum that alters their abilities, but they're not
So
mutants and they're not
it's just like
mutates.
Bucky. So it's just like Bucky. He was nothing. He had nothing special in him. He was given the serum by Hydra,
Mm-hmm.
and he became the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America was given it by the U.S. Army as an experiment. He became Captain America.
Right.
And we later meet Isaiah, who was the Black Captain America. He
Mm-hmm.
was given the serum in the Korean War
Mm-hmm.
in the 1950s, and he was the Black Captain America. And Bucky was sent to assassinate him.
Gotcha. And
And
that's not in the
Bucky
film
was
side.
well, that was only revealed in this last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because it's like, all right, there's too many super soldiers. Like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's up with all these super soldiers? So I think right now we're seeing we're seeing a lot right now.
And it's also good. I love the twists that are going around with Marvel, but I
Mm-hmm.
especially admire the twists in this Superman and Lois show on the CW because it's not your typical Superman show at all.
It's like it's not the typical Superman show, and it's actually more of a movie than it is a show. It's like a mini movie within every episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much happening in each episode, so many different scenes, and we're only at the beginning of it, and there's so much that they could do with this show. So
A
many
lot of
different paths
potential.
that you can take right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, what are we talking about? We have the multiverse is crashing into each other,
Yeah.
and you have different characters from different multiverses appearing within each other. So there was a multiverse where there was an evil Superman,
Mm-hmm.
and he was attacking Lois Lane's father, General Lane,
Everybody who's attacking everybody.
and the army, the government, and Lex Luthor was on the side of good in that
Yeah.
universe.
Well,
And
I think
it
in
was a different it
any
was a
universe
different
he would be on the side of good to some degree, right? Because he lives within this society, and if in the occurrence that Superman is bad and trying to destroy everything,
exactly.
Lex Luthor is not about destroying everything. He wants control. He wants
He wants
power.
control. It's not even that he wants control.
He wants
Superman dead.
chaos.
He wants Superman dead.
Aside from that, he wants power. If you
That's
watch the show Smallville, for
Yeah.
instance,
Well,
he,
that's it. His main goal is I want Superman dead because Superman is what's keeping me from my real goal, which is taking over the world.
yeah, he wants New World Order, and there can't
Exactly.
be New World Order without world.
Exactly.
So essentially, he has to
Destroy
attack
the world.
a bad Superman in that world. Yeah.
He has to destroy the world
Mhm.
to rebuild it in his own vision.
Now, Lex Luthor Does he exist in Superman and Lois? Does he
He
exist in
does.
that?
He
Like, I know
does.
there's the alternate universe one, but is like this universe one where Lex Luthor's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna chill. Where,
So so no, there is a Lex Luthor in this universe, but he's busy. He's got Supergirl to handle.
well, we don't know.
This is so it's pretty much been it's pretty much, this is obviously an assumption, but I think it's a generally accepted assumption that that Supergirl and Superman are actually in the same universe, because if I've watched all the shows, I've been
I
watching
remember in
Supergirl and all
Supergirl,
that.
they never showed Superman, right?
No, they did. So recently, I don't know the last time you watched Supergirl, but I've actually just been watching all the episodes.
So was that same Superman in Supergirl?
That same Superman was in Supergirl.
The same actor.
Same actor, everything.
Okay. Okay, now we're putting the pieces together. That makes
So
sense.
they're connecting. They never explicitly said that this is the same universe, but from last season, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, there was a whole the entire Arrowverse basically is what the CW calls it. Had a crisis. It was called the Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was a
Mhm.
6-part. It was essentially as a 6-part episode. So there were
Right.
6 episodes split across 4 shows. So
Okay.
basically, like, a couple episodes on this show, a couple episodes on this show, make it kind of split it up a little bit. So what they did was, I'll kind of give you a quick synopsis of it, just so you kind of have a little bit of a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, there's like an alien entity
Mm-hmm.
from the future who was coming in. They wanted to take over the world and destroy the world. They wanted to destroy the multiverse. That was their goal, destroying the multiverse. So essentially, all the heroes had to be they had to all come together to try to fight off this thing that's going on.
Right.
So you had, the Green Arrow, the
Okay.
Flash. You had their teams, obviously. You had Supergirl. You had DC's Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have heard, but I haven't watched.
Okay, so DC's Legends of Tomorrow. So that was that, bringing in an entire squad. Basically, they're like the budget Avengers of DC.
The Walmart brand.
They're like the B squad behind the Justice League.
Okay, well,
You
so
had you had Batwoman. You had a lot of characters, a lot of
right.
things going on, a lot of different characters all coming in, and you even had like Black Lightning. You had some of these like characters
Yes, I heard of Black Lightning.
who
Lightning.
are literally not even involved with like any of the other
Yeah.
shows. They just kind of pop up, and you're like, oh, okay, Black Lightning's here.
So for anybody who hasn't watched Superman and Lois, it's pretty much takes the perspective of, let's say Superman settled down with Lois and decided to have 2 kids with her, right?
Spoiler: they got
And
married.
they got married, and let's say those kids were to happen to age, and let's say those kids were to happen, one of them, or maybe 2 yet, we don't know, was to develop some of the same powers as Superman, maybe not to the
Yep.
same extent. And let's say one more that he decided to live out the rest of his days, move from Metropolis to Smallville, you know? It's really interesting to kind
It
of have a
is.
different perspective. For all those who don't understand our references towards Lex Luthor, there was a part in the show where we see this African American Lex Luthor, and it's shown that he is from a parallel universe where Superman was evil and came to this universe and where
He
Superman is
doesn't
good but
understand it.
still believes that he is evil or will eventually turn evil, and so he has to annihilate him. He has to destroy him.
Well, an interesting thing that we saw about with Lex Luthor is that he didn't actually understand that he's in a different universe, because Superman actually spoke to him and said, "I'm not I'm not who you think I am. I didn't do anything." And he said, "No, you did. You killed my family. You killed my family, my
Well,
friends.
I think that was just a
You know,
reference to him saying like you as an individual in this other parallel universe
I
did
don't think
that.
he was. I don't think it was. I don't think he picked. I think at that moment he didn't really pick up that he was in a different universe
I think he
because
does. I think there
most
was
people
hints
don't
of
know
it.
that there. Most people don't realize that there's another universe. Like after
Well,
this whole crisis thing happened, after all this happened, there were a few different like side effects that happened because of it. One of them being the timelines changed, and Superman and Lois only had one child, and they lived on Krypton. So Superman and Lois had one child, and they lived on
in
Krypton,
what in
or
what?
not Krypton, not that Krypton. They lived on
Oh,
another, on basically the neighboring planet where all the Kryptonians basically created their new home. The ones who
what are you referencing?
So this is from Crisis from last season. So this is from the last season of like Supergirl and all the when they did the
Okay.
Crisis on Infinite Earths, what I was talking about before.
Well, wait.
Um,
So then that kind of contradicts with the theory
hold
that
on,
Supergirl and
hold on. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. You have to. There's a lot of building to it. There's a lot of like steps you gotta go through. So part of it was that's where they began during the crisis. Superman got the call from his cousin, Kara Danvers, Supergirl, telling him, "You gotta leave right now. Your world is about to be destroyed."
hmm
So, Superman, being the man he is, he wants to save everybody, and he has to make a decision, which could either leave Lois without him, or he doesn't make it off this planet. So what he does is he ships off Lois and his baby, one child, off of this planet, the way that he was shipped off of Krypton, the way that Kara was shipped off of Krypton when they went to Earth.
Okay.
So he tried to stay back and save as many people as he could. Obviously, he saved some people, but the main point is that he only had one child with Lois at the time. He didn't have twins, so that's a difference that we had there. Another thing that happened during the crisis was all of these multiverses converged into one. So
In what?
once
In Supergirl?
Supergirl, the Flash, Batwoman, all of them merged into one. So Gotham Metropolis, Central City,
hmm
all of the main cities basically merged into one multiverse, one universe.
Okay.
So instead of them having to travel between multiverses to go to each other, they're now on one universe. Barry, the Flash can just run from Central City
hmm
to go see Supergirl. And
Okay.
in the beginning, they were having, there was a lot of, problems, a lot of things going on, where they were kind of like battling each other's, enemies or villains for a while. Flash would be battling some of Supergirl's villains. Supergirl would be battling some of the Flash's villains, and calling the Flash and like, "Hey, I got one of yours."
hmm
Like it was kind of like a lighthearted, like, "Hey, I got one of your guys. I
Right.
found one of your guys around my area." So that's kind of how we got that whole idea of this is one universe now. They went from that whole big multiverse
hmm
to what we have now, which is no multiverse.
Right.
So that's one way we know. And like I said, we had Superman and Lois both had, they only had one child. Now they have two. That with the timeline change, that could have been it could be that the two children essentially separated from each other when the timeline changed and became one, or became one child separated and became two children, which could explain why one of the kids is he was always super athletic, super strong. He was
Well,
big.
one thing we
And
don't know in the show
Mhm.
is whether that conversion happened already or is still going to happen. To which, in that case, could mean that the opposite of what you're saying is that the two children converged into one, and then they decided to leave the planet and go to, So we don't really know the timeline of that. We
Well,
we, we know that there's a possibility that, Superman and Lois and Supergirl could be connected. It could
so
not
there was
be.
only so when I said that they only had one child, they literally had a newborn.
Right, and we don't know if combining the multiverses together could just change your reality entirely.
Well, the
So
timelines did change. That was something that was known, and it's mainly because of the Flash.
so in a
Uh,
way, I mean,
Essentially,
there's
the Flash has changed everybody's timeline because he literally runs back in time and changes the timeline when he runs back in time.
right. Usually with world-ending occurrences, I don't know if he
So
just does it like casually. He's like,
actually,
oh,
well,
the Starbucks lady messed up my drink. Let me just go reverse time. I think it's like more for like the big things. But
he did it because there's a big series within the Flash. Within Flash is Flashpoint. So Flashpoint is essentially the new timeline. And then later on, Flashpoint 2.0 came out, which
mm,
was the new timeline.
okay.
So he reversed the timeline to save his mother. He failed at that, realized what he did, realized all the changes that happened.
Hmm.
So he reversed time again to try to change, to try to get himself to not change time and try not save his mother.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems like there's a
It's
lot going on here. I
there
was gonna
is.
I was gonna
There
ask
is.
you, do you like the Superman that we have here in Superman and Lois? Because I know there's a lot of kind of
There's a lot
like
of
you
controversy.
you have the guy from Smallville who's amazing, fan favorite. A lot of people love him. You have Henry
If
Cavill
Yep.
from Man of Steel. And now we have another Superman. Like this is getting like on Batman status at this point. Like
Well, there was actually a fourth Superman that a lot of people loved, and this was one of two Supermans that were part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
it's just there's a lot going on, man.
So
It's
there was a fourth Superman, and I am going to I forget his name right now.
But first, I want to give me your thoughts on this guy. Do you like him? Do we hate him? I just gotta plug in my laptop real quick.
You know what? I do like him.
Yeah.
I definitely like him. But I don't know. It's Henry Cavill would be great.
It would
Just
be not
for
just great, it would be amazing.
just for continuity. That's all it is. For me, that's why I would love to have him, just for continuity's sake.
I mean,
I would
continuity, but
want
like the man is literally, I think he was born to be Superman. Like, I don't think anybody has ever played a perfect Superman like him. Like,
Yeah.
really, he is the image. Like, whenever I see Superman in my head, I think of Henry Cavill. And it's like Iron Man, dude. I mean, not to that extreme, because a
hmm
lot of people can see, you can kind of like play along with, I mean, different actors playing Superman, like the ones
So
we've had in Smallville and
yep.
this guy.
So
But
there was actually so I was looking up the name of that fourth Superman that I was talking about, and his name is Brandon Routh. I don't know if you've heard of him.
no,
So
that's the actor's name, or
is that's the actor's name.
okay, let me look it up.
So I'm actually sending it over to you right now. Yeah, you see a link on your
Yep, I just
phone.
searched it up. Yes, I've seen him before. This guy you're talking about.
Yep, he's been in a lot of stuff. He's been in
I've
a
seen
lot of
him.
things, but his big thing was obviously not obviously not his big thing, but he played.
It's Ralph. Okay.
Yeah. So he was actually Superman Returns Superman.
Look at this picture.
He was the
Oh.
Superman Returns.
That
Yep.
picture.
The two Supermen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
awesome.
They had the two Supermen in the Crisis, and you only
Dude,
got one.
DC's crazy, bro.
So like imagine like I would love to see this with honestly with Marvel. I'd love Marvel to do something like that. Bring like essentially have like you have where I mean we might we might have it in the Spider-Man movie. The three Spider-Men might show up.
I can't wait. Ugh.
I really hope they're not just trolling us because Marvel really loves trolling people. And
Yeah.
I really hope this is not this would be the most epic. Like, look, tomorrow is April 1st. Any news you see tomorrow is fake.
Dude, Marvel is like Apple. They could pretty much do anything, and people
Marvel,
like you can get mad at Apple, you can get mad at Marvel, but you can't ever just be like, I'm mad. I'm never watching Marvel again. It's like no.
it's like
Marvel
I'm
could
mad.
do anything, and you still
It's
watch
like
it.
I'm mad, and then Marvel says, "Hey, we're releasing a new movie tomorrow." You're like, "All right, I'm going."
All right, I'm watching it. I'm not mad anymore.
I'm not mad at you guys anymore.
And
It's
then
gonna be five.
Apple makes like 7 phones the same thing. Just one's like one iPhone this big, one this big, one this big, one, and then we're just
like, I'm buying it all.
I'm buying it. It doesn't make sense, but I'm buying it. Like at this point, the Apple car, they're gonna be like the new Apple SUV. It's bigger.
Well, the Apple car, your battery's not gonna last your battery's gonna die after a year and 11 months. And
listen, make sure you don't take your car to hot areas because it'll damage the battery. Oh, okay. Let me just move to Alaska. Like
your battery temperature cannot exceed 70 degrees. So just don't drive it then.
Yeah.
So I bought this to park it inside my garage, and it's never leaving.
No, it's horrible.
No,
I wonder if the Apple car is gonna have like a camera on it.
It's probably gonna have like live FaceTime where you can like FaceTime with other cars.
Oh my God, that's so sick. Oh, that's so sick. And to think about all the also like adapters they're gonna have, like you're probably gonna be able to just place your phone on the center dock. There's one on the right, one on the left, 3 in the back, where you could just fast charge your phone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's gonna be,
and then you can like FaceTime your car. Make sure
you're gonna have to get like a new headphone adapter every time you get a phone.
They took out the aux.
There's no more aux.
There's no more radio. Now you just have to like connect your phone.
You actually have to bring your own speakers. There's no chairs either.
And the sound system's gonna be Beats. Like has to.
No, you have to pay extra for that. You have to get the Pro.
And then you need like iCloud, storage.
You have to. Well, no, you're gonna have to get
go more miles.
You're gonna have to get the iCar Pro Max in order to get that.
And there's gonna be like 3 different versions of the car, one with like different ranges. Like this one can go 700 miles, or this one 250. It's like.
I don't even want to know how much the charger is gonna be. Charger's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, bro. I'll stick to Tesla. My man Elon Musk got it. I'll stick with the Tesla, bro. He's mastered the art of the electric car, bro. I trust him. And we're going to Mars. So.
See, I'm waiting for Elon to release the car that can take me to Mars.
Well, people always thought that they're like, I think back in like the 90s, they were always like, by 2022, we're going to have electric cars. Flying cars. And the truth of the matter is, we will never have flying cars. We might design a flying car. We will never mass produce a flying car.
Designed. It was designed.
Yeah, it was designed. They have them. But my point is, it'll never be.
I think it was like the 1994 World's Fair. I may be completely off with that, but I remember it was like one of the World's Fairs. Well, and it was like, this is back when World's Fairs still happened.
I'm sure that people have also designed their own types of flying cars. Think about it. What is a flying car? What's the difference between a flying car and a helicopter? The design or the way that it flies? I mean, it's pretty much similar.
The difference is that a flying car can also drive.
Right.
Like on the road. Like it'll still have wheels. So it'll basically.
But what about a plane?
Well, you can't drive a plane on the road.
You can. Of course you can. A one engine? Yeah. You
Maybe.
can. I mean, any plane can drive. It's not, I mean, it might not drive fast, but it drives. Actually, no, it does drive fast in order to take off. So yeah, it does drive.
Well,
But
it's just
the thing is,
propulsion. Yeah.
you'll never mass produce on a consumer level flying planes. Think about this, okay? If you get into a car accident on the road, all right, we bump around, all right, you might even die. If you get into a car accident, flying car, it's pretty big, dude. You're definitely dying. It's like, oh, hit your fender. Now that both cars are like plummeting to the earth, and then we're also gonna kill some people on the ground.
How high are you talking about when you talking about flying cars? Like, I'm not talking about flying at the same level as planes. I'm talking like how
at
basically
any height,
I'm talking
you're
about
gonna do
hovering
damage.
over the ground. I'm talking about like cars just hovering over the ground.
What is the point of that?
It'd be fun.
You can't. I mean, you're talking about two different technologies. We're talking about flying technology and hover technology.
Well, no, but flying cars, when they said flying cars in like the 80s and 90s, I don't think they actually meant a car that's going to take off and fly.
No, they 100% meant flying.
Maybe.
I saw pictures of what they were designing of cars flying like at the height of buildings.
Hold on, but you have to remember this was at the height of drugs in America. So everybody was pretty much high.
Nothing to do with that.
Everybody was high.
There's no correlation between drugs and people. It was just people were like, "Oh my God, we came up with the telephone, Nexus flying cars." It's like, whoa, slow down there, buddy. There's a lot of things we have to design before then.
Okay, the creators of Back to the Future, they went to the year 2020, specifically October of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
What did they show us in October of 2020?
Enlighten me.
They had hover cars.
Right.
They also had the self-lacing shoes, which Nike did create in 2020 for that specific purpose, and they sold them for a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, self-lacing shoes, very easy.
Well, Nike was like, hey, this is an opportunity. Let's figure this out.
It's an exclusive item.
Because 2020 is coming up and we need to release something for everybody because it's going to be exciting.
There's other companies of self-lacing shoes at this point, I'm sure, that are more affordable. But
I think the Nike one last time I saw it was like $800.
Ridiculous, bro. You know what's really ridiculous?
But what is it called now?
The price of shoes are so ridiculously high priced. It's literally plastic.
Hold on.
Rubber and plastic.
I want to see how much this self-lacing the self-lacing shoes are.
Why don't you just put Velcro?
Yeah, so they are now selling for $85,000.
Oh.
I should have bought them at $800.
Yeah. But these are self-lacing.
Yeah? Are they actually self-lacing?
Yeah.
Oh. I guess it's just
this is
the Back to the Future edition.
These are $300, you know?
Oh, nice. I mean, this is the Back to the Future, the Nike Mag Back to the Future edition.
I love these shoes.
So those are like limited, obviously.
We are extremely off topic.
Hey, this was meant to talk about anything else. Obviously, my phone is gonna show on this.
I told you not to use the background, bro. Told you, man.
It's actually not it is the background.
You have to put it in front of your face, and at that point, we won't be able to see what you're putting on the screen.
You know what? You know what? We do have an option here. You can keep talking while I figure this out.
I'm ready. I'm about ready to conclude this podcast, but let's
here we
show them this. There you go. Yeah. Those are the OGs.
Those are the OGs from Back to the Future. These are $85,000. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I see that XSplit VCam watermark. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's my camera software. It's what allows me to put some backgrounds.
Don't you have that other DSLR camera?
I do. But
You
see, I
can-
could do something like this. Like, hey, I'm just chilling up here.
People have never seen this before. This technology that you're using is like unheard of. You're blowing people's minds.
Like, I could be a member of the Avengers right now if I really wanted to.
Uh, no, I'm
do
not going
this?
to give you the opportunity to do this. Thank you guys for watching. This is the Hitchhikers Guide to the Movies podcast coming at you via Zoom. Make sure to check out our sponsors, Raise Energy, and use code Hitchhikers in the promo box for 15% off your purchase. Anything left to say, Slim?
Oh, I think we're good. We did talk about a lot of different topics today.
Okay? I want to get to Adam Sandler movies. That'll be the next podcast going out, guys. I know this one's coming out a little delayed, but bear with us.
You know what? What's your favorite Adam Sandler movie?
I think we said this on the audio podcast, the previous one, but I'm a fan of Big Daddy. That was a good one. 50 First Dates. All-time favorite. Hands down.
All-time favorite? Okay.
I love movies that are in Hawaii. I love movies that have like a tropical soundtrack. I love the plot. It was awesome. It was creative. It was cool. It's hilarious.
Okay.
I've watched it 1,000 times and I still laugh every single time.
What did you think of Blended?
So there's you know how Adam Sandler is people call him a corny director, corny actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some movies are not as corny as others. 50 First Dates, a little corny, not too bad. Blended, on the other hand, very corny. Very corny. Yeah. I gotta say there's like a certain timeline of movies that were good with him. Like his earlier movies, like Billy Madison, great, amazing, but once you go past Big Daddy, once you go past 50 First Dates, it's like, gets a little corny. I would say I like his older movies than his newer movies. Uncut Gems, now you can't put it in the same category. It's really not.
Because it's not a comedy.
No, but it shows that he can act. Marrywood Stories shows that he can act. So I'm impressed by him. I think he's proved what he needs to prove. And at this point, he's just filling his pockets with money. If people keep consuming my terrible stuff and I have a huge fan base, then I don't care about the haters. I think he has a net worth of like $500 million, bro.
I mean, the thing is, he created his fan base off of those old movies. And now all those essentially kids who were watching his movies when they first came out are still his fans 25, 30 years later. My brother is a huge fan of Adam Sandler, and he got into Adam Sandler from his early movies.
DJ, yes, sir.
Yep. And I'm talking about some of those really early movies when it was just, you had Billy Madison.
Yo.
Oh, battery God. Exhausted. The battery is exhausted.
We have officially gone to the point of my camera turning off. All right. I think
battery is exhausted.
I think we're going to have to continue the Adam Sandler talk for next week's podcast. But thank you guys for watching. Obviously, you still can't see me, but that's all right. I'm still here via voice.
I'll do the wait for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out our sponsor. Leave your name in the comment section below. Hit that like button and that bell notification so we know when we post. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys like this sort of format, make sure to let us know in the comment section below. Snem, thank you for tuning in. Always a pleasure to have my co-host on with me.
I mean, you could do the show without me, man. You know that.
Nah, I need it. I need you. I always need to ask that initial question, like, what did you think? So, but thank you guys so much for watching. And catch you guys on the